Good morning, students. I have already completed your topic first. Second, I have already completed the topic first, that is the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. I have also completed the question answers. Then topic 2, differing strands within the movement. Then its question answer. Then topic 3, towards civil disobedience. This topic was going on in the previous session. In this topic, I have completed withdrawal of non-cooperation, formation of Swaraj Party, then economic depression. Today, I will start Simon Commission. Today, I will start Simon Commission. But before that, I will once again repeat the previous topics. That means the withdrawal of non-cooperation by Mahatma Gandhi, then formation of Swaraj Party, and then economic depression. In February 1922, Mahatma Gandhi decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement because he felt the movement was turning violent in many places and satyagrahis needed to be properly trained before they would be ready for mass struggle. The movement had become violent, and one example was that of the incident of Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur district of UP, where 22 policemen were burned alive in February 1922. It proved that the movement became totally violent. So Mahatma Gandhi decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. In addition to that, satyagrahis needed to be properly trained before they would be ready for mass struggles. That means they were not properly trained, so they became violent. So before the start of any movement, the satyagrahis needed to be. He also felt that satyagrahis needed to be properly trained before they would be ready for mass struggles. And also, within Congress, some leaders were by now tired of mass struggles because it started in 1916, then 16, 17, 19, 18, 19, 20, 21. Continuous movements were going on. So leaders were by now tired of mass struggles, so they need some rest. And in the meanwhile, some leaders were also ready to participate in the provincial council elections. They were like the leaders like C.R. Das, that means Chitranjan Das, and Motilal Nehru were in favor of participating in elections to the provincial councils. So they formed Swaraj Party within Congress. They formed Swaraj Party within Congress. Another was economic depression. The effect of worldwide economic depression was not good for Indians because agricultural prices began to fall from 1926 and collapsed after 1930. It was also called as the Great Economic Depression, ये आर्थिक महामंदी. Agricultural prices began to fall from 1926 and it collapsed after 1930 as the demand for agricultural goods fell and exports declined. Peasants found it difficult to sell their harvest and pay their revenue. By 1930, the countryside was in turmoil. That means the economic depression affected badly the Indian इकोनॉमी बिकॉज एग्रीकल्चरल प्राइसेस फेल डाउन, क्योंकि एग्रीकल्चरल जो प्रोडक्ट्स था उसका प्राइसेस काफ़ी गिर गया, तो किसानों को परेशानी होनी शुरू हो गई। और जो पीजेंट्स वेयर द लार्जेस्ट सोशल ग्रुप्स इन सोसाइटी, द एग्रीकल्चरल प्राइसेस फेल डाउन, जो फूड ग्रेन्स का जो प्राइस था वो गिर गया था। इस कारण से भी किसानों को दिक्कत होनी शुरू हो गई। एंड दे फेल टू पे देयर रेवेन्यूज, दे वेर नॉट इन पोजिशन टू पे देयर रेवेन्यू और लैंड टैक्स, लैंड रेवेन्यू। सो they thought of opposing the British policies, and the peasants or the farmers were the largest social groups in Indian society. Around 80% of the total population was dependent only on agriculture. So it was the largest social group, or that means 80% of population was डायरेक्टली अफेक्टेड बाय द इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन। इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन से अराउंड 80% पॉपुलेशन डायरेक्टली अफेक्टेड थे, डायरेक्टली वो लोग प्रभावित थे। नेक्स्ट वाज साइमन कमीशन। इट वाज सेट अप अंडर सर जॉन साइमन। सो इट वाज नेम्ड एज साइमन कमीशन। इट वाज सेट अप अंडर सर जॉन Simon. It was set up in response to the nationalist movement, and the commission was to look into the functioning of constitutional system in India and suggest changes. The problem was that the commission did not have single Indian member, all were British. That means all members were British. All members were British. All members were British. There were no Indian members. So when Simon Commission arrived in India in 1928, it was greeted with the slogan "Go back, Simon." It arrived in India in 1928. It arrived in India in 1928, and when it arrived in India in 1928, and it was greeted with the slogan "Go back, Simon." साइमन वापस जाओ। जिस समय 1928 में ये यहाँ पे आया, उस समय जबरदस्त प्रोटेस्ट हुआ इसके अगेंस्ट में, एंड इट वाज ग्रीटेड विद द स्लोगन "गो बैक साइमन." सो all political parties including Congress and Muslim League participated in demonstration against Simon Commission. In effort to win them over, the Viceroy Lord Irwin announced in October 29 a offer of dominance status for India. All the political parties joined protest against Simon Commission. जो भी थे वो सब लोग साइमन कमीशन के अगेंस्ट में जो प्रोटेस्ट था उसमें पार्टिसिपेट किए। So it was Simon Commission. It also became failure, and the next is Lahore session. Lahore session, or Lahore, it is also called as Lahore Congress. Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they became more assertive, and the liberals and moderates were two groups of Congress. The liberals and moderates, who were proposing a constitutional system within the framework of British dominion, gradually lost their influence. So in December 1929, under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, that means Jawaharlal Nehru was the president of Lahore session. So under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore Congress formalized the demand of Purn Swaraj or full independence for India. The demand was Purn Swaraj or full. The the demand was Purn Swaraj or full independence or full independence or the Purn Swaraj or full independence. Its president was Jawaharlal Nehru, and the demand was Purn Swaraj or full independence. It was also declared that 26 January 1930 would be celebrated as Independence Day. It was also declared that 26 January 1930 will be celebrated as our इंडिपेंडेंस डे. 26 जनवरी 1930 को हमारा पहला इंडिपेंडेंस डे, हम 26 जनवरी 1930 को हम लोग अपना इंडिपेंडेंस डे मनाएंगे. इन लाहौर सेशन under leadership of or presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, it demanded Purn Swaraj or full independence and decided to celebrate 26th January 1930 as Independence Day, when the people were to take a place to struggle for complete independence. But the celebration attracted very little attention. So Mahatma Gandhi had to find a way to relate this abstract idea of freedom to more concrete issues of everyday life. But the declaration, that means 26 January 1930 will be celebrated as our Independence Day, it attracted a very little attention. So now it became the responsibility of Mahatma Gandhi to start a new movement like non-cooperation movement. So Mahatma Gandhi found in salt a powerful symbol that could unite the nation. After Lahore session, your next topic is the Salt March. The Salt March. Mahatma Gandhi found in salt a powerful symbol that could unite the nation. On 31st January 1930, Mahatma Gandhi sent a letter to Viceroy Irwin stating 11 demands. 31st January 1930. He sent a letter to Viceroy Irwin stating 11 demands. 11 demands. Some of these were of general interest, others were specific demands of different classes, from industrialists to peasants. The idea was to make the demands wide-ranging so that all classes within Indian society could identify with them and everyone could be brought together in a united campaign. And the most stirring of all was the demand to abolish the salt tax. The demand to abolish salt tax. It was the most important demand from 11 demands. Mahatma Gandhi made 11 demands from Viceroy Irwin, and the most important demand was to abolish salt tax. Why he chose salt? Because salt was something consumed by rich and the poor alike, and it was the most essential items of food, and the tax on salt and government monopoly over its production, Mahatma Gandhi declared, revealed the most oppressive phase of British rule. Salt was the most important thing for common people, and they imposed taxes on manufacturing of salt. That means Britishers imposed taxes on manufacturing of salt, and it was the monopoly of Britishers that only British or European can manufacture and sell salt. So it showed the most oppressive face. It shows the most oppressive face of British rule. So Mahatma Gandhi later was in way an ultimatum. If the demands were not fulfilled by 11 March, the letter stated that the Congress would launch a civil disobedience campaign. That means the deadline was of 11th March 1930. That means he gave a letter, that means 11 demands, the letter of 11 demands on 31st January 1930, and it was an ultimatum that up to 11th March you have to fulfill our demand. That means it was an ultimatum. The letter was in a way an ultimatum, and Lord Irwin rejected the demands of Mahatma Gandhi. That means he was not ready to fulfill the demands of Mahatma Gandhi. If the demands were not fulfilled by 11th March, the letter stated that Congress would launch a civil disobedience campaign. Irwin was unwilling to negotiate. So Mahatma Gandhi started his famous Salt March accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers. The march was over 240 miles, 240 mil, from Gandhiji Ashram in Sabarmati to Gujarat coastal town of Dandi. The volunteers walked for 24 days, about 10 miles a day. Thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhi wherever he stopped, and he told them what he meant by Swaraj and urged them to peacefully defy the British. On 6th April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law manufacturing salt by boiling sea water. So Mahatma Gandhi started his famous Salt March by 78 of his trusted volunteers. He started on 11th March 1930. They were on 31st January 1930. Mahatma Gandhi gave his 11 demands to Lord Irwin. Lord Irwin. He gave his 11 demands to Lord Irwin. The most important demand was to abolish salt tax. Lord Irwin was not ready to accept 11 demands, so he started his famous Salt March on 11th March 1930. With him, there were 78 volunteers. There were 78 volunteers. He started his march from Sabarmati ashram to Dandi. Dandi was a coastal town. Dandi was 240 miles away from 240 miles from Sabarmati. It was 240 miles from Sabarmati. He decided to go 10 miles, or he decided to cover 10 miles a day. He decided to cover 10 miles a day. So he completed his march in 24 days. He completed his march in 24 days on 6th April or 6th April 1930. He reached Dandi. He reached Dandi and violated salt law. That means on 31st January 1930, demand was made. 11th March, it started. Salt march started with 78 volunteers from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, and on 6th April he reached Dandi. Thank you.